Connecting HubSpot and Airtable can be a really powerful way to improve efficiency for your sales team. Basically, you get to take all the power of HubSpot and all the usability of Airtable and bring them together. Now, WhaleSync, our company, makes that really easy with two-way data sync between HubSpot and Airtable that literally is built to work out of the box. But today, we're going to talk first about HubSpot's native data sync features with Airtable. So using HubSpot's native data sync feature, you can technically connect HubSpot and Airtable. And we have a lot of opinions here at WhaleSync about why that is pretty suboptimal, but for some very lightweight use cases, it can actually be useful. And so in this video, we're going to talk about how to use HubSpot data sync, how to set it up within just a few minutes, but then exactly how that compares to something more advanced like WhaleSync's HubSpot Airtable connection. All right, so this is a little demo HubSpot account. Hopefully it looks familiar to you with a set of companies here. And in order to use their out-of-the-box native Airtable integration, you're going to want to navigate over to Data Management and then Integrations and open up that app marketplace. From here, you can search for Airtable. And let's go ahead and just hit enter so all the options come up. Of course, we've got us over here with our two-way sync, but for now, let's focus on the out-of-the-box data sync feature that HubSpot offers. To give this app some credit, it is really easy to set up, and all you have to do is hit this Install App button and then connect to Airtable. And from here, choose a base. I have one called Testing HubSpot Data Sync that is set up just for this purpose. And there we go. So now I'll click to set up the sync. First thing that it asks you to do is select the object you want to sync. So here in HubSpot, you can see what's available. This is one major limitation, which is that the only things that are available are products, companies, and contacts. So let's go ahead and do companies here. Now, over there, I'll click my HubSpot data sync test Airtable base, and I'm going to want to connect that to my companies table, right? Another limitation here is that you can only set up one object at a time. So if you wanted to sync companies, contacts, and deals, as we see a lot, it's just not possible here. But once you have picked the object you want, you can hit next and configure it. Now, this can seem like a lot to kind of take in visually at once, but all of these little options here are fairly important. So this first one is matching up data that already exists in Airtable and HubSpot. I'm going to select no matching only because I just set up an empty Airtable for this test, but either of these should work pretty well. In terms of data conflict resolution, I'm going to stick with HubSpot as my source of truth here, and I will need to add in an Airtable field for company name. This is sort of their primary key for this sync, and then a last modified time. So if you haven't already, you'll need to go into Airtable and add a field called last modified that HubSpot data sync will use to decide what should be updated, right? Again, just to call this out, this is something that you don't really need to do in WhaleSync when you're setting up a WhaleSync sync, but let's stick with this app for now. From there, it will let you map fields. Now, one of the other big limitations here is that in order to map anything other than just the name field, you'll need to upgrade your plan to a plan that has more HubSpot capability. So as an example here, let's say I wanted to map my annual revenue field and my annual revenue field, right? This would require me to update my HubSpot plan to a higher paid plan, right? So I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to just go ahead and hit next. We'll let it sync all of our records and not filter it. And continue over to review and save and sync. And again, that was really, really easy. This is what's super nice about HubSpot's out-of-the-box data sync feature is that you can set this up within HubSpot within just a few minutes here. All right, there we go. So this actually came over pretty quickly. A few seconds later, my 9 companies that I showed before have synced across, and when we come into Airtable, we can see them here. And as we make changes, so maybe 9x updated, right? This will trigger a change in this last modified time, which should come back and trigger a change here eventually, right? 'Right? Unclear exactly when this will come across, but we can expect this to eventually make its way over if we've set this up correctly. And of course, if we want to hit sync now, that would trigger this to run. And there we go. So once this was triggered, this looks like this 9x updated came back across. If we come back to our CRM and we take a look at companies, we will see that right here, 9x updated matches. As you can hopefully see, it's pretty quick to set this up, and for very lightweight use cases of just pulling data out of HubSpot into Airtable or vice versa, it should do the job. But you probably also noticed a bunch of pretty important limitations around how many objects you can actually map, how many fields you can map, and how this will actually work if you want to deeply connect to Airtable. So what we'll do really quickly is just show you how you can set up the same thing with WhaleSync and take advantage of a much deeper connection between HubSpot and Airtable. Now let's go ahead and set up the exact same sync in WhaleSync. So from here, I have opened up WhaleSync in a different tab. The first thing you're going to want to do is create new to create a new WhaleSync base. This is essentially a connection between two tools like HubSpot and Airtable. And here I'll click HubSpot and authorize it. It will let me authorize, I want to do this demo one, those same records here. And because we are certified by the HubSpot App Store, you can just go ahead and connect and you should be good to go. Now, once we've saved that connection, we can do a similar thing with Airtable, where we will authorize, pop in our base sharing link, and then grab that same one. So testing HubSpot Data Sync, perfect. And there we go. We're now connected to HubSpot and Airtable. We can save. And here we get to the fun part of mapping tables. Now, unlike HubSpot Data Sync, WhaleSync lets you map as many objects or tables as you want. And we have support for a lot of HubSpot objects. So here, I've automatically mapped companies, contacts, deals, notes, quotes, tasks, and tickets. But if we wanted to also bring in things like meetings, emails, calls, products, and taxes, those are available too. Here, we'll set the sync direction. I like two-way sync for all of them, so we can move over to map fields. Now, what will happen here is that WhaleSync was built to handle lots of data syncing across lots of different fields. So it's not about syncing just, let's say, a company name and an annual revenue, right? This is about deeply connecting all of your HubSpot data with Airtable. And to do that, you'll need a lot of fields. And so what is happening here is WhaleSync is automatically mapping fields that have the same name. So if we go back to this Airtable, you'll notice that in my companies table, for example, I've got fields like website URL, contacts, lead status, right? All of those are just automatically mapped for me because they match the same name as exists in HubSpot. And so you can see I've already mapped 23 fields here, same with contacts and all the others. All I have to do is hit save. And now my base is ready to go. I'll go ahead and turn syncing on. And what we'll notice basically is that WhaleSync will start to boot up and watch for changes. And in maybe 30 seconds, when it's finished sort of noticing all of the data that's in HubSpot and Airtable, WhaleSync will start to sync that data from HubSpot to Airtable and then keep it two-way synced from there on out. And there we go. So now we can see in WhaleSync that data is starting to sync. And if we go over to our logs, we can also see exactly what WhaleSync is doing. So if we click on one of these logs, you can see a detailed view of exactly the fields that were updated. And this will continue to populate as more and more data syncs. So if we go over to deals, we can see that this has started to come across. So hopefully that gives you a really good overview of the differences between HubSpot's native data sync and WhaleSync. Again, if you need something really lightweight and quick, HubSpot Data Sync might be able to help. If you're looking for a deep integration between HubSpot and Airtable, or really HubSpot and a lot of the other tools that we support, WhaleSync is the way to go.